This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Right, in the description box is a Sky Sports interview. It's about 10 minutes long between Deontay Wilder and Adam Smith. Of course, he's talking about his fight tomorrow night with Breazeale. And, of course, Adam Smith is asking him about Anthony Joshua. As in, why haven't we seen this fight yet? Are we ever going to see this fight? What's it going to take to make this fight? And Deontay Wilder is saying silence is what's going to make the fight. Which is kind of weird, because he says that that's why him and Tyson Fury signed to make the fight, because people weren't talking about it. They did everything quietly behind closed doors, and it came out as this big surprise. Well, it wasn't really, because anybody who watches boxing and keeps up with all the news and who's doing what, where and when, people would have seen that it was actually Tyson Fury who came out on social media and offered you the fight. And then you responded, and it all went through from there. Frank Warren, oh, the fight is on, the fight is on. But yet, a month, 6 weeks later, then we find out the date and venue, right? So, no, not everything was like real quiet. And that fight happened because Wilder actually wanted that fight. He's seen Tyson Fury as an easy fight to get a good name on the resume because Tyson Fury wasn't ready. We know why that fight took place. But him saying that him and Joshua, in fact, he's now done a complete U-turn in saying he's not blaming Joshua as to why this fight hasn't happened. He's blaming Joshua's team now. So before it was all Joshua, right? But now it's Joshua's team. Okay, so he's saying that I tried to make the fight 5 times. I'm curious as to what these 5 times were. I mean, he tried to kind of like pinpoint some of them, but none of them were occasions where he actually tried to make the fight. Unless, of course, he's talking about when Joshua was still a prospect. Maybe he tried to offer Joshua a fight back then, which probably kind of fits the way that Wilder does things. But he said that, I accepted 12.5 million. I accepted 15 million. So let me correct those 2 points right there. First of all, 12.5 million, you didn't accept, which is why the 15 million offer came in. Because you didn't accept the 12.5. In fact, it went silent. Everything went quiet. It took you, 3 weeks, 4 weeks or something to respond and then offer this fake 50 million to Anthony Joshua, which was coming from PT Sport, which was a whole laughable experience. It really was, when you gave Joshua 24 hours notice. So it's you that's been the foghorn on social media. Okay, but then the 15 million come along. So that 12.5 million you didn't accept. Okay, so you lied on that one. 15 million, yes, you verbally accepted it, but you didn't sign the contract. And that 15 million came to you 3 weeks previous to you accepting it. So why didn't you accept? I mean, why did it take you 3 weeks, first of all? And second of all, you didn't sign the contract. If you don't sign a contract, then you don't agree to the fight. It's as simple as that, really, isn't it? It's not too difficult to work out. And their reasoning being at the time, of course, it's probably changed since then, but at the time it was no date and there's no venue, when everybody knew what the date and venue was. Last week of October or first week of November at the Principality Stadium. Couldn't be at Wembley because Stephen Espinosa of Showtime didn't want it in September because it would have clashed with, or it was too close with Triple G and Canelo, the rematch. Stephen Espinosa said, no Wembley fight. We're not putting it on pay-per-view in September. So it had to be end of October, early November. So again, we knew, but they used it as an excuse. So you can't say that you tried to make the fight and you accepted it for 15 million because you didn't. You were then offered $100 million from DAZN. And then you turned it down, as he said in this interview, because we didn't know what Joshua was getting. Who cares what Joshua was getting? You're getting $100 million. You're going to make $100 million anywhere else for 2 fights? Of course not. Of course not. So, again, I mean, him saying that people here on YouTube or across the internet and fans shouldn't be talking about it, and once people stop talking about it, that's when the fight will happen. Well, people will never stop talking about it. It's just how it is. People want to see the fight. People talk about the fights that they want to see. So this fight will never happen. And even Wilder said that, he said that he'd accept 40%. But now he's saying that he wants 50%. So again, he's changing the goalpost. So he wanted 40%. He gets offered 40%. And he says, no, now I want 50%. But how can a one-belt champion demand 50% against a guy who does fill out arenas, does fill out stadiums, is a cash cow and brings all that kind of money and has 3 of the 4 belts? How can you ask for 50-50? Why? Because you got a WBC title? It doesn't work that way. That's like saying Sean Porter because he's going to be taking on Errol Spence Jr. Sean Porter is WBC champion, so therefore he should get 75% and Errol Spence should get 25%. Do you think that's the deal that they agreed on? Of course not. That's just craziness. Craziness. One more belt is no more valuable than the others. It just isn't, because you need 4 of them to become undisputed. Without any one of them, you can't be. So yeah, fans are going to have an opinion on this, and fans are not stupid. A lot of your fans are stupid, that is for damn sure. But in reality, you don't deserve 50-50, so it's called pricing yourself out. Shelley Finkel said that the fight will happen because he's building a good relationship with John Skipper of DAZN. So in other words, he's saying the fight will happen when he decides. So Shelley Finkel is telling Wilder when the fight is going to happen, and it will all be dependent on Shelley Finkel liking John Skipper and them two building a good relationship. What the hell has Shelley Finkel got to do with this? It's got nothing to do with it. Wilder, do you want the fight? Yes. Joshua, do you want the fight? Yes. Let's do it then. Now, ultimately, I do think that Joshua will end up offering him 50-50, even though recently Wilder has said he wouldn't even fight him for 50-50. So who bloody knows? Who really knows? I think Wilder is just putting these ideas in people's heads so they tune in to watch him fight Dominic Breazeale, because he wants as many eyes on the TV as possible. Okay? He wants as many people going to the arena as possible, because this fight had flatlined as far as ticket sales were, or they were 3 days ago. I mean, I haven't checked since. Is there any point? Not really. So, yeah, I think that he's just trying to do everything. And then once he fights and beats Breazeale, he'll then start chastising Joshua. Joshua don't want the fight. I'm not fighting Joshua, and blah, blah, blah. He'll go back to that. Then he'll get another fight, and yeah, maybe we're going to fight Joshua after this, and, you know, everything will be dependent on this kind of situation, and blah, blah, blah. He's just building up the fight. You don't want Joshua. And that's for people to stop talking about it. Why would people stop talking about it? You see, he asked for the impossible. If people stop talking about it, then you and Joshua, that fight becomes pretty irrelevant, doesn't it? You won't get paid as much money if people don't hype it up. It's not about building the fight. This fight should have already happened. It should have happened 6 months ago, but you didn't want it. It could have been signed and sealed for after Breazeale. All you had to do was accept this $100 million from DAZN. So that's all you had to do. So don't say that you want the fight. You don't want the fight. Even if, listen, if Wilder and Joshua sat in the same room together alone, maybe, yeah, just maybe, so these two can probably get the deal done. Or Joshua will come out the room and the rest of the people around will probably walk in the room to find what's going on, and Wilder is stretched out on top of the table after being pummeled by Joshua. Anyway, link in the description box. Go have the interview. Go have a watch of the interview even for yourself. Come to your own thoughts, of course. I mean, do you think that people should just stop talking about this fight? And that's what's going to get the fight done? Personally, I think that he's saying this because he's feeling the pressure to make the fight, and he just doesn't want to make the fight. He doesn't want fans talking about it, because the fans not talking about it, it means he can carry on with his merry way and not have to fight Joshua. Because the fans are not asking for it. The fans are not demanding it. That would be the new narrative if people stop. Anyway, as I said, article in the description box, or video in the description box, I should say. Go give it a watch if you haven't seen it already. Click the thumbs up to this video, subscribe, catch you all on the next one.